In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the front struts on this Honda Accord. Located right behind your front wheels, let's get started. Let's remove the wheel. Use a 19mm socket, remove all 5 lug nuts, and then pull the wheel off. Sometimes the wheels are stuck, so give them a couple taps. You'll see that the ABS wire is attached with a 10mm bolt on this bracket on the strut. We have to remove this. With this off, pull the wire aside. Right below the 10mm bolt we just unbolted, there's a 14mm headed bolt that pinches the strut fork at the top where the strut actually goes into it. A lot of times these seize up, so you want to make sure you break it free gently so that it doesn't break completely. Work it back and forth if needed, and spray it with rust penetrant. There it is. At the bottom of the strut fork, you'll have a 17mm headed bolt. On the other side, there's a 17mm nut. You want to remove this so we can move the fork around. Hold the nut with a wrench and remove the bolt. Okay, the nut came off the other side. Use a hammer and gently tap the bolt through. There it is. Wiggle this fork, use a hammer if needed, and bring it down. There we go. You can pull on the entire knuckle assembly. That'll give you some space to pivot this around. Push the strut backwards. There we go. Make sure the ABS wire is staying out of any pinch points at all times. Under the hood, you'll find where the strut goes through the strut tower, you have 3 14mm mounting nuts and 3 12mm mounting nuts. Remove them all. Doesn't matter which one you start with. Just take them all out. On this last one, the strut will want to drop down, so make sure you kind of hold on to it from underneath. From underneath, grab the strut and make sure it clears the ABS wire. It's going to have to clear the tie rod. And now you're going to have to twist it, turn it, and wiggle it until it comes out. You might have to also lift up on the knuckle. This will give the upper control arm a little bit more clearance. There it is. Sometimes you might need to remove the outer tie rod end if your new strut doesn't quite fit. Sometimes they're just a tiny bit longer than the original. So remove the cotter pin if your vehicle happens to have this. If it just has a locking nut, well, skip directly to removing the mounting nut for the outer tie rod. Now if you do have a cotter pin, don't reuse it. Make sure you have a new one on hand. Now use a 19mm socket and remove the nut. With the help of a hammer, tap the side of the knuckle right here. This will release the tie rod stud that goes through the knuckle. Perfect. Now you take your strut and fit it right in the same way that the old one came out. Having this loose should give you plenty of wiggle room here. Put the ABS wire on the correct side. And you'll notice that I put some grease at the bottom here. This is so that it can protect the strut from rust as it goes through the fork. Okay, let's bolt it on up top. Push the strut through with one hand, and with the other, try to start in the mounting bolts. There we go. Once you start one, it'll stay in place so you can let go and start in the others. although you might need to tilt it a little bit. This one here can be a little tricky because you can't get your fingers in there, but start it on, put your socket on it. Let's snug these up a little bit. Start in the 12mm mounting nuts. Snug these up as well. I don't want to torque these yet because I want to wait until everything's back together, the vehicle's on the ground, and with the weight of the vehicle pressing up on the strut, that's how you're going to get the most accurate torque spec for these. So now that they're snug, we can move along and we'll come back to it later. Let's get the tie rod back in. Put the mounting nut back on. Snug it up. 40 foot-pounds is the torque for this mounting nut. That's 40 right there, and I do not have a castle nut. If you do, at this point you would want to continue tightening so the slot for the castle nut lines up with the hole in the stud for the cotter pin. Speaking of the cotter pin, install a new one like I said earlier. You don't want to reuse the old one. And of course, to lock it in, we're going to bend it over. There we go. Now we're going to have to reinstall the fork on the bottom of the strut. There's a tab on the back side right up here that needs to line up with the split in the fork right where that bolt goes through. You want to make sure it's pressed in all the way up. There it is. So it has to bottom out up against this bracket here. Make sure that fork is staying in place and put that bolt in, the pinch bolt. I put a little bit of grease on the shank of the bolt so it can prevent it from rusting in the future. Snug it up, holding that fork up still so that it can be completely bottomed out. 36 foot-pounds is the torque for this bolt. That's it right there. Put the bolt through the lower fork, pull this down, get it to line up. There we go. Install the mounting nut, and let's tighten this down. Now, when you tighten it down, make sure you can still spin it because we now have to actually put this up at ride height. This bushing, when it gets clamped down with this bolt, is going to want to twist, especially as the vehicle goes over bumps. So you want to torque it down in its ride height position. Otherwise, if you torque it like this, it will permanently be in a bind. Let's bring this up at ride height with either a floor jack, or if you're on a lift like me, I'm using a pull jack. Now you don't have to get it spot on, you just have to get it close. .47 foot-pounds is the torque for this. That's it right there. Lower your support. Let's reattach the ABS wire bracket onto the strut. Snug it up. Let's get the wheel on. Start on all 5 lug nuts, bottom them out in a cross pattern, and also in a cross pattern, we're going to torque them to 79 foot-pounds. Double check them. Now that the vehicle is lowered and there's pressure upwards on the top of the strut, let's torque the 14mm mounting nuts to 41 foot-pounds. Double check them. And the smaller 12mm headed mounting nuts get torqued to 16 foot-pounds. There you have it. Job is done. Do the same to the other side.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.